Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about markets, and there really is no second best intro music. I have to be honest. I just get so revved up listening to that every morning before we go live. I hope you guys enjoy it too. We are pumping into Monday. We're going to talk about the implications of this move, right? The real move or the tease. We'll debate it on today's stream. Welcome back, guys. I hope we've had a great weekend. Before we can get, well, I have to do introductions first. I'm Storlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Louis, Max, and of course Chef Jackus. But before we can get into dissecting the market, right? Assessing whether or not this pump is real or not. Is it over? Are we so back? You guys are going to have to hit the like buttons. And I don't know if you guys saw over the weekend, but we actually got some soybeans news, or at least it was in the headlines, I think, last night. Talking about how Trump was going to reach a deal with China relating to soybeans. So maybe we do look at soybeans today, and maybe not in a way that's because you guys haven't hit the like button, but make sure to do that anyway. Hit the like button for us. Let's run it up. Let's start the week off on a great note. After all, we are seeing a great reversal here from Bitcoin and really markets across the board, right? Bitcoin up 2.5%, leading the market, much stronger than things like ETH, Solana, and definitely things like BNB. I see Hyperliquid has perked back up. Then at the same time, you have equities up almost 1% on the day. Nothing really stops that train, it seems like. What's gold up to today? Probably green. Gold is green. Who would have who would have guessed, right? Do we think the top callers from last week were early? Another thing that we'll probably discuss on today's stream. But yeah, I mean, how are you guys kind of viewing the market right now coming out of the weekend? We're seeing a nice rebound here after a lot of FUD last week. We're seeing volatility get crushed a decent bit really over the last two sessions of the market. And then I'll also ask this because it's been a long time since I have asked this on the stream, but what did you guys get into this weekend? Anything
Football.
fun? I feel like when I ask that question, it throws everybody off because most of the time they're ready to talk about the markets. I'm like, oh shit, I got to think about what I did this weekend.
Football, couple brewskis, camaraderie, friendship, family.
I was about to say study family.
They were all studied this weekend. And the Jets sucking. 0-7. 0-7. What about you guys?
I went to a wedding. My sister-in-law got married, so that was fun. Got to see some family and friends. Got attacked by some complete mouth-breathing freaks. That was not fun. So kind of a mix of good and bad, like had my life threatened and also got to see a lot of family and friends, which was really cool. So kind of a mixed basket for me. I won $50 on the TCU game. My brother-in-law was over. We were watching. I guess he's got a bookie or something. And he said, "You want to bet on this game?" And I said, "Let's do it." He said, "How much?" I said, "Just whatever you're doing." So he threw I think he threw 50 on it. I think we were playing the money line and also the spread. I think we covered. I think we cashed on both. I think Baylor, couldn't get it done. TCU finished. So I think I won $50. I haven't got paid out yet, but hopefully that Venmo comes through pretty soon. So yeah, really my weekend could be summed up by the following. I think I won $50 on college football. I went to a wedding and my life was threatened. So a pretty normal weekend for me, all things considered.
Do you guys not have sports betting, Max?
No, Minnesota is the worst at everything. We can't do anything. No. All we get is high state income taxes, high property taxes, and violence. So.
But you can't gamble.
No, you can't gamble. No.
Oh my God. That comment. I'm not going to highlight it, but wow. You might have
it, dude. Send me a DM on X. I might be interested.
Seek help.
Yeah, if you know John Wick, please let me know. That'd be great. But yeah, Sosafly, send me a DM. Yeah, that's kind of it. But Bitcoin does look a lot better, man. It was looking really, really vulnerable. But they did some amazing work over the weekend, which needed to happen, like without question needed to happen. I still think the big level is going to be the quarterly open, right? We've been talking about for a while now the importance of that quarterly flip and being one with the scam, where we've seen this in previous Q4s. They pump you off the open, they scam dump you below, and if they can manage to get it back above, things typically look really, really good, right? And anybody that's sold or shorted or de-risked too aggressively on that flush below becomes a forced buyer, or they just get liquidated. So I think the quarterly opens around like 115 or something like that, 116. I don't know if you necessarily need to wait that long, right? But that's kind of the big level where I think if we can reclaim that quarterly open, then we probably are going to salvage Q4 in a big way, to a lot of people's surprise. So I'm really relieved to see the attempted buyback this morning. And they managed to fix the weekly quite a bit, right? The weekend was very constructive, which it's kind of one of those things where, like, when Bitcoin must hold, a lot of the times it does, and it absolutely needed to hold the level. And I would say, not to be the 25-year-old technical analyzer, but like not quite out of the woods yet, but we are seeing what we needed to see happen over the weekend. So
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. Nice buyback Friday into the weekend. Once again, kind of saving our
real
weekly
quick,
candle
why is your
close.
Coinbase chart like 600 points lower than other charts?
Oh, I think
Amazon web issues.
Can you even use Coinbase right now? Like, has anybody logged on to try to use it? Can you even use Coinbase?
Let me see.
I know Robinhood's like barely working.
I'm on the app. The app is operating. I don't know if I could sell or anything,
But like, I think there are AWS outages everywhere.
really,
China.
China. Yeah. So yes, pretty much saved the weekly candle close once again for like the third time in a row in the last couple weeks, getting that nice push into Sunday night, saving the weekly candle. Wasn't a super bullish weekly close, but it saved it from being a very bearish one, right? Like, let's see if I can use this one here. Let's just get rid of this for a second. Like, the weekly candle close could have been closing below, our market structure here, right? And that would have been a bearish, like, outside and down candle. Instead, bought back up, into the weekend. Candle body close for the weekly candle close last week, still closing above key market structure here. It's what we needed to see, right? We needed to see that. And it all started with, a pretty nice daily candle close on Friday. I discussed with the Discord, right? We closed a beautiful daily pin bar candle, right? Friday, right? Nice long wick to the downside. We backfilled the last bit of daily inefficiency left. That pretty much sparked the break of all-time highs back in the summer. Stopped on a dime, closed a nice long wick pin bar. And this pin bar comparable to this one, right, which pretty much marked the bottom. This one, which also marked the bottom. And so on. So probably one of the larger pin bars we've seen in a while on the daily, where we needed to see it. We needed this to be pretty much a false breakdown from this range, right? 107 is a big level. that I've been talking about consistently, because it is, right? 107 keeps you above our highs from back in January. 107 keeps you above our consolidation before breaking all-time highs back in the summer. We needed to hold 107. 107 is our range lows. If you're looking at the last couple months of price action as a range, 107 is the level, right? We have to be above 107. We broke down below that Friday morning and then have since gotten back above. We got a daily close back above 107 yesterday. And today, we're seeing that push back inside the range after our daily close back above 107. So far, so good, right? We still got some work to do. 112.5, pretty much the mid-range of this range of the last couple months needs to be reclaimed. That's the next level I'm watching. But right now, this looks like the makings of a potential deviation, false breakdown, and reversal back inside the range. So liking what I'm seeing. Just need a little more confirmation and follow through to kind of confirm that.
Yeah, I do like that this rally is being led mostly by Bitcoin. I will say that you don't really want to see ETH participate yet, in my opinion. Because Bitcoin really, I think the level it needs to reclaim is like 115. To defend support, I agree, Louis, it's 107. But to like really get, I think, more risk on behavior going in altcoins, you're going to have to break above 115. Because, when we kind of look at the options data into the end of this month, that's the level where we've seen a lot of like popular put buying is around that strike price. So to kind of flip 115 will basically crush Bitcoin volatility back down from this uptrend that it's been in. And I think that'll give altcoins more room to be able to breathe.
ETH's got a hold here. ETH's got a hold here. Starting to see some bounce, but yeah, like Tommy said, kind of being led by Bitcoin, which I think is the healthiest thing as well. So we need to see this level respected by ETH. We're seeing some nice wicks down here. Bears trying to break us down below our multi-year range highs. For right now, we're holding it. Twice now we've gotten below it, and bulls have bought us back up and closed us above. So I'm looking for a move like this for ETH back to the upside. And then this is just consolidation after a multi-year range break, flipping old range highs into support. What was resistance, now support, and ETH goes on its price discovery rally. Kind of what I'm looking for.
As I said before, guys, this will become, in my opinion, one of the most obvious higher time frame retests in history when looking back in hindsight a year or two from now. People look back and be like, damn, I wish I could been there in the market back then. It was such an obvious retest. However, like, everyone had to be buying back then, right? Nobody was panicking or anything like that. Like, that was so clear in the chart.
Wrong. Everybody was panicking.
Yeah. I mean, you got a nice weekly close out of ETH too. Again, holding weekly candle, bought back up, holding range, our multi-year range highs here, flipping it into support, continuing to close the week above 4K. We've done it twice now in back-to-back weeks. Eventually, you're going to get the squeeze to the upside if we continue to hold 4K, right? So this looks like a springboard, It's like a diving board. About to take a leap, but we just need some more confirmation and follow through, right? So there are risks, right? There are risks, but I'm still leaning and looking for a bullish, expansive move for crypto. As we sit where we are now. until proven otherwise. Like as we start closing the week below 4K on ETH, we start closing weekly candles down here. Okay, right. I'm like, okay, got to make some changes. Got to move some stuff around. Until then, I kind of have to stick with my guns. And same thing with Bitcoin for 107, right? As long as we're continuing to close above 107 on the daily and the weekly, I kind of got to stick with my guns and just wait this out and wait for more bullish confirmation. But yeah, as long as we're closing above 107 on the daily, yeah, this looks like a beautiful deviation. This kind of reminds me of the this. What was this? The
It was the Bitcoin ETF launch.
ETF, right? Yes.
That's the funny part. People don't even remember what it was back then. Do you like think people will remember what Trump tweeted on specific day? You know, no.
Yeah.
But you will see an obvious higher time frame retest when looking back on the chart.
Yeah. What we're seeing now kind of reminds me of this, right? Sweep of the range highs. Oh, you're breaking structure. You know, we're coming down. Nope. Deviation back inside. Pause. Bang. Monster rally. Still in the cards. Still in the cards.
I heard it.
He is he's been a little mischief maker. He clawed the shit out of me about 5 minutes ago.
It
wouldn't be a proper stream without Tommy's cat in front of him or attacking him.
That is, yeah. Anymore, he's making an appearance almost like every day.
It's very true. What's hype looking like? I mean, it's holding. This is where you want to see it bounce.
I think stocks are about to fucking send from here.
They look sendy. They look sendy. The VIX got absolutely crushed. I think that's it for the VIX. I'm not an expert. I leave that to Tommy. But this is kind of what I was expecting. We swept all of these highs, right? All the local highs. All of these. Bang. Now, harsh rejection here. Harsh rejection. So, liking that. Liking that. This just looks like a little correction, guys. Scary as it may be, these drops, like I've said before, I feel like they have to kind of manufacture these drops in the market, or else the market's just going to keep going up forever. You know, I feel like they have to kind of have these drastic drops, these news-based headlines, these VIX spikes. Seems like it's the only way to get the market to come down at least the slightest bit, you know.
I was so surprised how small the correction was on stocks compared to how high VIX went and how much fear there was.
Yeah.
And surprised how deep crypto went compared how much it went down before it. Like I was expecting it vice versa. Bigger correction on stocks and smaller on crypto, and it was vice versa.
Yeah, I was reading it was in like the 99th percentile for like the move and the VIX relative to how little equities ended up moving down.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Russell still creeping. Again, this is our number one risk on indicator for crypto is the Russell in price discovery, breaking all-time highs. And we're creeping, right? We're creeping. We're working through that supply. We're right here, right? We're right here.
Usually what happens when everyone is waiting for the quote-unquote exit pump is that you either don't get it or you keep going up and it's not an exit pump, it's a bull market.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I believe the top will come when people are convinced and believe in the tech and the adoption again.
Yeah. That's something I've been saying for a while, right? Like the top comes when no one's talking about the top. You know, like it's just been the main topic of discussion for the last year. And when we're at a real market top, I can promise you nobody or very little people, if any, are going to be talking about a market top. They're going to be talking about how high things can keep going. You know, when you're at a top, people aren't talking about the top. They're talking about how high things are going to keep going, so, and I've been saying that for a while, although, yeah, altcoins haven't done the best yet, but they can make up for that very quickly in a short period of time. But, as far as Bitcoin's concerned, or equities, equity's probably closer than Bitcoin, right? But who knows? You never know, right? So specifically crypto, it's not the environment. What we've been seeing is not the environment. You get a market top.
I think the sentiment will have to be a vice versa to what it was in COVID or tariff Trump, which is in both situations, there was a common like a pattern to what people were saying is that how can you be buying right now based on your TA when we have this unprecedented event that never happened in history? How can you be buying when people are locked up in their homes? Or how can you be buying when we don't know what the economy is going to look like with all of these tariffs? How can you be buying, right? It makes no sense. And so this is the peak bearish sentiment at the best buy. For the top, I think it's got to be the other way around. It's got to be like, how can you, like, are you stupid? How can you be selling now when all of these institutions have just adopted all of this blockchain technology? How can you do that? It makes no sense. Now we are just beginning. I think.
You don't think there's that sentiment right now, Jackus? Because I think there's a lot of that sentiment right now.
No, I think the sentiment right now is, I think I'm gonna kill myself, or I've already done so. So, like, sure, institutions are very slowly in the very background adopting it, but it's definitely not the retail sentiment.
I did see that retail got hit the hardest in the crash, at least that we know of. I'd have to find the exact metric, but basically it was that crypto retail on average had about 15 or 16 times what the normal like retail trader has to work with. And that number got cut like more than in half after 10 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we call it now? The 10 and 10?
The 10 and 10.
October 10.
The 10 and 10, I like it as a mark for the situation. I was like, what are we gonna call it? Like Black Friday, or
Yeah.
No, I think there is quite a lot though of people saying like, yeah, why would you sell? There's no, and the reasoning is it's like, oh yeah, well we have the AI CapEx cycle and it's a new paradigm of productivity and they're going to be adopting all of this technology and all of those things I think are true, for the record. It's just a matter of, okay, how consensus is it actually, right? Because it's easy to do sentiment analysis and think that you speak for a majority of people when in reality, our feeds on social media are often tailored to what our algorithm thinks we want to see, right?
Yeah.
They keep shilling me bear porn. I don't want to see that. They must not know who I am.
But they want you to see that. They want you to sell your bullish bags.
They want me to bend the knee.
The meat.
But I shall not. I shall not. The meat stick stands alone.
The meat stick stands. That was from Lord of the Rings, man.
Are you a big Lord of the Rings guy?
Theoden the king stands alone.
Yeah.
You guys know what's driving me crazy right now?
What?
Because I've got some positions open on Robinhood, and I'm trying to execute on orders, and I can't do it, and it's costing me money, and it's driving me absolutely insane.
That's bullish. People can't sell right now.
Well, I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like credit my account because like I am stuck in positions I
That is
can't even log
bullshit.
in.
That is bullshit.
Do you
It's
want to
crazy.
sell or you want to buy?
I'm not saying shit. If I speak, I'm in trouble. But I'm in these. I've got some options open, and I can't execute on them. It's just. It's crazy. I'm like, how are they going to handle this? Like, what? I'm going to message them and be like, yeah, you just cost me like this much money. Here's what they were priced at this morning when I've been trying to execute. They're going to be like, oh, sorry. Sorry you got clobbered because our site was down. I'm going to be like, okay.
This is also a site that literally stopped people being able to buy a stock. Only
What does
sell it.
Amazon stock look like right now, Louis?
Good question.
By the
I feel
way-
they'll be like, oh, sorry that happened. Here is a tissue.
No crying in the casino.
To the person asking what my cat's name is, it's Butters. It's Butters.
Amazon looks like a short here, guys. This is what
I was just thinking the same thing. I'm not gonna lie.
this looks like a completion shoulder.
At your own risk.
Look at the RSI. This
Like,
is
looks like
coming to Goblin Town.
Sure.
This might need to be studied here.
Don't do this at home.
It looks like Blackstone stock that I was looking at last week.
I think there is a decent chance it's gonna come back down to fill the gap. But I suppose depends what the target is for the short. But I wouldn't dare to short Amazon here.
I'd probably short it into here, let it bounce, and then short it again down here.
Okay, I get it now. Cycle top is in.
Oh no, there's gonna be a day where I am extremely bearish, and everyone's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" It's just not that time. But this looks ugly. I would not want to be long this. Right.
Look at the RSI divs, man. That thing just.
I know it's so bad.
Losing momentum.
Low T price action since Bezos dipped out.
Yeah.
Study that.
What do puts look like on this thing? You got a gap here, so that's what you're saying.
But unironically, I don't think that these, Mach 7 or, top like 15 companies in the S&P are going to go down by much. But I do think they have a period in which they can either go sideways or very slowly up, and the liquidity will be pouring elsewhere. And so the ratio of their market caps will be changing with slow caps.
I think that's what we need to see. We need to see these stocks slow down finally. And the money's got to come from somewhere, right? So you need stocks like these to slow down, range, pull back, and then that's when you see that capital rotation into the low cap stocks. I agree.
Apple just hit all-time highs, by the way.
Good company.
Apple. What's the picture?
Well,
What's
I
the
would
CA?
say that it's Apple. It's double A.
I guess I had it on my watch list.
Now, it's kind of funny that like everybody is so down on Apple technology because they haven't really innovated necessarily over the last few years. And at the same time, I was talking to a friend about it last year, and he was like, he's way more deep into the weeds on this kind of thing. And he was talking about how much better their tech had gotten over the last 2 or 3 years and going forward. So, I think the sentiment around Apple, you wouldn't expect it to be about to enter price discovery, but on a higher time frame, I think that this stock is going a lot higher. Might be back to being one of the market leaders, or as far as the Mag 7 go here pretty soon. But Yeah, I mean, I think it's the public doesn't really realize yet how much Apple has really kind of innovated quietly and is going to. I think you're probably going to see that more here over the next few years.
I mean, my
Well-
issue with Apple as somebody who's completely stuck in Apple is that, like, yeah, maybe in one regard, like their tech is good. It's becoming really like business friendly, where I feel like Microsoft dominated like the business world for a long time. And Apple, I think, is kind of stealing their lunch now, or, you know, really trying to make a push there. And their interface is great. It's easy to use, but at the same time, man, there's no creativity or soul in it anymore. Like they just drop like the same phone that has a better camera and is quicker, you know. I don't know. I'm just like,
It
I'm not
wasn't fun
bearish
to
on
leave.
Apple.
I
I
don't.
just didn't like do something cool, you know, like where
The
where
thing
is
is,
where is it?
Let me
I
figure
think
it
the
out.
thing
Hold on.
with Apple is, first of all, that they have a loyal community that will stay within them, and that's a huge edge for years to come. Plus, I think one of the things that separates them a lot is that they are, or like the security side of things that they are trying to push. Plus, we know that they have lots of capital, and whenever there is like a need for a new product, they can always come up with it, you know, and just deliver it for their customers. So, I do not know about like the huge innovation side of things as it used to be in the past, but I do know, and obviously that's sort of what you said, Tommy, that it's more like really when you zoom out and it's more higher time frame, right? Because like they might not do much for the next few years, but then like 5 years from now they can come up with some brand new product that the market like needs, and they'll just do it well in the way they do it. That's gonna be the new product, and that can set them apart, right? Like for example, in the past it used to be computers, and then suddenly it was phones, right? And obviously, you know, iPods, iPads. But the thing is that they have a very solid customer base that is going to stay there, and the security, I think, is a good part that lots of people going forward will be demanding, that some other, you know, competition might not have as good. And so in that sense, and the stock price is confirming, I wouldn't expect something crazy from it necessarily, but I kind of do think that it will go steadily upward before it potentially hits some crazy upside again in the future. Maybe, well, crazy, maybe that's the wrong word, but like some decent upside.
Okay, I figured out the technology. Apparently, they're making like huge innovations towards like satellite technology, and also a much more upgraded version of the cloud. And it's kind of been like their stock's appreciation that's kind of given them this this leeway and obviously the capital to be able to innovate a lot more. So I guess kind of like a lagging indicator. Or not like a lagging indicator, but kind of like lagging the stock price in a way, which makes sense.
It can even be something as simple as the Apple streaming platform, right? For example. Like, I mean, they had a really pretty decent shows lately. I myself have subscribed for it because I was trying to watch something and it was nowhere else to be seen. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a try.
Was it Ted
It was
Lasso?
Sorry?
Was it Ted Lasso?
No. It was actually the TV show Franklin and C. So Franklin doesn't matter, but what I'm trying to say is that it could be something, right? Like we know that the movie industry has been in a terrible shape in the past 5 years. Lots of people stopped going to the cinema, watching movies, and so forth. Perhaps this is the next step. They can do really well. Who knows? Who knows? But it doesn't necessarily have to be just, you know, come up with a new phone, right?
Hmm. Well, it seems like they are going to try to replace. Oh, hello. They're going to try to replace Starlink, which I
Could be
thought was
huge, yeah.
interesting.
Like, for example, if you're gonna look at companies such as Google or even Amazon, right? It's like it's no longer about like the basic stuff that you know them for. They, for example, can be offering cloud services. They can be offering, some form of AI. They can be offering lots of the data centers and so forth. Lots of these things that like the retail guy doesn't really know about that they are doing, while lots of their revenue can nowadays come from this. So Google isn't just the browser anymore, is what I'm trying to say.
What are you looking at?
And this is also why you saw Google pump a lot lately.
What does Google look like?
Ticker Goog.
Google.
Goog.
Have you guys ever watched The Internship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, look at holy hell.
It is.
Sheesh.
Like there's a good chance this will be trading at like $700 in the next few years.
Jeez.
Yeah, Google and Apple both look really good. Obviously, they both need follow through, right? You don't want these break of all-time highs to deviate. But they both look strong. Now, Jack, as we talked about these stocks slowing down and the money flowing into low cap stocks, do we need that? Or can these stocks continue to go on face ripping rallies and we still see money flow into low caps?
I think we can definitely see that, but I do think that some of the higher caps will slow down. Maybe not necessarily Google, but some of them I think will. But I, for example, am not very optimistic on Tesla particularly, but yeah, I do think that the rotation to small caps is going to happen.
I remember when everyone was so bared up on Tesla down here. I should have bought it. I was like, oh, we got a level here. It's got to hold. What kind of move was that? That was a 100% move. I mean, it doesn't look horrible. This kind of looks, it needs to pretty much hold 410 and not do this.
It doesn't look horrible, but it also doesn't look as great. I mean, their robotaxis aren't really going as they were promised to do so. There is obviously lots of other business and government donations they get, right? But I don't know, something doesn't feel to me as it should, and that's totally fine. I just think there is better opportunity elsewhere, and obviously, the PE ratio it's trading at, for the amounts of promises that they delivered and did not deliver. So I do not know. I think this could easily trade sideways for a while. I'm not necessarily saying it's going to go down or so, but this is what I touched upon when I discussed the rotation, right? Is that some of these can like go sideways or slightly up, and the rotation is going to go elsewhere in the meantime.
You talking about Tesla?
Perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, it ran up like thousands of multiples in hindsight. Usually it just needs some time to digest at that price. But I would agree. I mean, it's kind of like one of the weirder looking Mag 7 charts. They're definitely easier Mag 7 charts to be bullish on.
Yes.
What do you think about Nvidia here? Because I think that there are Mag 7 charts that look better than Nvidia right now too.
I think it could retest its recent low, but it's bullish for sure. But I think the bigger upside is already in. So like, let's put it this way: I was buying sub 100 and was selling here.
Yeah,
So more or less. So
that was the move. That was
that was the move. I think it can now go sideways for a while. Like it can retest, 160. Then I think it's gonna go up again. But like the opportunity on it, in my opinion, is more or less gone. Like if you are buying here, you're only going to be going with like the performance of the rest of the market, pretty much, or maybe lower than that. So I don't think from a risk to reward ratio, this is a good buy here or hold. But it's a safe one if you are like looking to buy something and hold it for the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think this is still, you shouldn't look at this chart and be like, it's too high. Don't be too high or, but
The already pumped or.
you're already pumped or, yeah.
Got a request for the Russell. In my opinion, this is still following the COVID fractal to a T. And we're here. And we're creeping. We're creeping. Eventually, it's gonna meat stick. We did see a little pullback here, so that does make me feel a little better about seeing this first, right? So we got this high, pretty large weekly rejection, then a high wick weekly rejection. We do got to get above these, right? This wick high, this candle. But I think if we close the weekly candle above the old all-time high from 2021, we close the weekly candle up here above this red line. Pretty much game on. And that's our leading risk on indicator for crypto is the Russell and price discovery. So let's drop it down a little bit. So daily time frame, we got a nice hold, right? We got a nice hold of this level. Tried to break us down on Friday. Beautiful daily pin bar close, candle body close above the 2021 all-time high, all wick below. Looks like it's ready to go on the daily time frame. That's a good daily close on Friday. Keep on chugging along. And this move kind of wiped out probably some late chasers here. All right, wipe. See you later. I like it. I like it a lot. ETH is red.
What is?
ETH. What happened?
What do you guys think about like crypto's version of IWM here? I'd consider that BNB.
Explain.
Or Sol. BNB or Sol. Kind of like the IWM of crypto per se for small caps.
So like if BNB is pumping, alt should be pumping?
Yeah.
Is this chart working?
I think some of these charts need a good bit more elbow grease before they start to outperform again.
Well, I don't know if that is true because we saw BNB pumping, but alts did not really follow. So
That's true.
I mean, again, another one that's had a nice weekly close too.
we did see ETH pump in July and early August, and it also didn't transcend into alts just yet. But I think that will change. I still think that ETH is the most important, but it's going to be more again. I think it's going to be more isolated to assets that have value and will get bid in an isolated fashion rather than just pump it all sort of stuff.
What does DeFi look like?
And Sol's a wonky chart, just like BNB, probably because they're both scams. But I mean, it's kind of at a must-hold level, but I could see it bouncing here. You still have these untapped highs. Kind of need to see the move from here, and I could see it happening.
I still think ETH's calling card at the end of the day is not going to be like necessarily a signal that all altcoins are going to pump, or even some like ETH betas. I think it's just going to be DeFi. That's going to be the main thing that benefits from ETH price appreciation over the next few years. That's not to say that, like mainnet meme coins can't pump hard, but I just think the asset sector within crypto that's most likely to be the most correlated with ETH price is going to be total DeFi, because that seems like it's pretty clearly what the boomers want ETH to be, right? Tokenized assets, likely through or intermingled with DeFi. And we probably haven't even seen, if I had to guess, I hope not, all of the DeFi protocols that's eventually going to include, but I have to imagine that, yeah, DeFi is going to be the most correlated with ETH price appreciation. What does 8 look like?
They gotta just erase all these wicks on these charts, man. They just messed every chart up.
Why does that look like the Fartcoin chart, man? Now that I'm looking at it, why does the last like year and a half of price action look like Fartcoin?
It's got to go back above 250, in my opinion.
You see what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's got some work to do. Oh, these charts are so ugly nowadays. With these wicks, so annoying.
What do you guys think about Fartcoin?
I don't.
I never think about you. I mean, if that ain't the bottom, then I don't know what is. If you were to draw a lifetime volume profile on that, though, I'm pretty sure it went to the value area low. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me. Like all the way through, yeah. Just drag it all the way through. You might have to go into the settings on it now. Just double click, yeah. And then click on VAH and VAL down in the middle. Yeah.
Do we need the Fartcoin chart with the full price history?
That was just not it.
And is it?
Yeah, I guess
probably a Sol chart. Man, when was the last time you pulled up a chart using the Radium Dex on TradingView?
I only chart with Radium.
I know. When was the last time that that we did that? Sol on chain has been so dead. It's been amazing.
Another week, another weekly candle close above the January highs for the total crypto market cap. I like it. Just refusing to lose these highs. Low off top.
Elon shilling Floki.
Super cycle.
The Hooper cycle.
Although we might get a super cycle because the amount of pain and horribleness in this market, that might be the only end result possible. There has to be a reason.
ETH cycle soon, brother.
Ugh.
Super
Altcoin
cycle.
market cap.
Super cycle of pain.
Yeah.
Are you winning?
What phase of the cycle is this?
Super difficult cycle. I mean, it doesn't look horrible.
I still think the biggest problem with altcoins right now is there are way too many damn coins.
Yeah.
Of course. The trade will be that people will start dumping all the shit and chasing a few, which is going to be the cleansing part. And then slowly exchanges will start delisting those that that people started to dump, basically. That will stop having volume. Because at a certain point, people will dump most of the token, right? Then it's only going to be just market maker, basically, and few random people who just, I do not know, bought for whatever reason. And it's going to be like a slow bleed. And then exchanges will say there is no volume. We are delisting this, and it's going to be a mass delist season, and people will only chase a few that they will have a strong belief in.
That is something I've been thinking about a lot myself too, Jackus. Because in my opinion, as this asset class matures and TradFi fully adopts it and the world adopts it, there's going to be one, you're not going to be able to make an altcoin every other day of the week, right? But by clicking a button, there's going to be a walled garden that goes up. There's going to be a lot of regulation and stipulations as to how, why, and who is able to create an altcoin, in my opinion. And a lot of this, in my opinion, is the market kind of healing and fixing itself in a way where eventually the market will decide what's valuable and what's not, over time. And
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about the last couple of years in this altcoin market. It's pretty much had, in a way, kind of had to happen to drive investors towards more utility driven assets in this space. And then eventually, like I said, you're not going to be able to, not every Joe Schmo is going to be able to create an altcoin. And the altcoins that do make it through there and people find value in real world utility, those will go on to have those super cycles that we talked about. But not everyone, right? Not all altcoins are created equal. And that's why it's always good to have stuff like, and who knows, right? Who knows if these are even going to be the winners, but tokens like the market's showing you, right? Tokens like XRP, right? That are 400% higher than where they were this time last year, right? Where most altcoins are way lower. Stuff like Link, where, it's higher than where it was this time last year by about 100%. ETH, kind of at the same levels, but higher than where it was last year. The market's kind of been telling you this, Sol.
But Louis,
earlier, but
my coin has utility. My coin has utility.
I know, and I still think there's a time that a lot of the memes and stuff do run. I really do, but I think that would be the last kind of hurrah for that. And maybe some memes survive, but most die. I think we do have that one last hurrah left. But after that, I think it's, they're not going to be included in the rest of life cycle for crypto or digital assets, right? Like Jack has always said, moving towards digital assets and away from cryptocurrencies, kind of that mindset.
I think the hard thing, because I do agree, eventually a lot of these altcoins are going to be delisted from exchanges. It's just like there is more incentive right now for these exchanges to keep these coins on their exchange, unfortunately, than for them to take it off, because it drives volume ultimately to their exchange. So I think that's kind of like the difficult part. What's going to lead to a lot of these altcoins getting delisted? Yes, their volumes are already putrid, right? I mean, we kind of made a joke about it last week. Like, who the hell is holding Atom in 2025?
We saw
nobody anymore.
We saw that's what happened 2 weeks ago. We saw that no one held, a lot of the assets are just held up by leverage. That's what we saw 2 weeks ago. Not many. Not many.
Yeah, Atom's not looking good, man.
Zcash still going. I'm sick that I drew this and did nothing about it. I drew that.
I know that
here.
feeling.
Someone asked me to chart it. I literally did it.
Many such cases.
Yeah. Oh God.
The best
This
trades
is
are
very
squigglies.
interesting. Like this is very interesting to me. Is Monero still looking good? Are you still in that, Jackus?
Sorry, what?
You were in Monero, right?
Yeah, still in it.
Still in it? Where's the Monero chart? I know you're here somewhere.
I remember Manish. I remember those East killers.
DOT and EOS. Man, I remember a huge CT trader shilling me some things on DOT that went to zero, literal zero. I'm not going to name them, though. You guys can probably guess. The usual suspects.
Oh, Monero still looks pretty good here.
But Manish, do you know that EOS tried to rebrand itself? It's called AUSDT. Walta.
I just think XMR is going to grind up over time. I think it's going to be hard for XMR to make like a parabolic move imminently, just because it's so hard to buy. It's so hard to buy. Like, there's only one American exchange I think that you can actually access Monero from, and that's Kraken.
Is Zcash though? Is Zcash like
Zcash is a lot easier to access? Yeah.
Is it on Coinbase?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, that's your answer.
Let me make sure, so I'm not just talking out of my butt. I do know it has like the Binance listing and everything still. Like, Monero is not even listed on Binance.
Yeah.
It's genuinely kind of a pain in the butt to buy.
Honestly, the delist from Binance was the low in February 2024.
Typical.
No
It was
crunch.
like, because at that point, that was the first thought that Monero could have gotten, pretty much. It got delisted from all major exchanges back then. And since then, it started to go up because all the bad theses have been deleted. The demand for privacy coin is always going to be there. And matter of fact, it's only going to rise. And so yeah, it's been through a lot through the past years, and I only see bullish case.
Yeah.
We'll see in what fashion. Obviously, the questionable part is like, is it going to go up now? Is it going to go up quick? How far? Right? I agree, but I think the destiny is up, and it could be very asymmetric bet too, in a matter of like, it can have an isolated pump.
I agree. I think as far as like having money outside of the system goes, most people kind of view Bitcoin or Ethereum as that, but I think Monero does a better job, quite frankly, of fulfilling that particular use case.
Well, I think nobody nowadays thinks that Bitcoin is money outside of the system anymore. Right. It's the best. In my opinion, the way people view Bitcoin is really just perhaps a settlement layer. You can move large parts of it through the world. They can view it as a energy network, right? In which way, for example, the oil miners can't use the excess energy to mine it. And so, and obviously the main one, which is the asset class to capture the value of government currency debasement and printing. But and that value is always going to stay there as long as there is demand. So, but it's not a privacy coin. Nobody's buying Bitcoin to stay outside of the system.
True that. Cypherpunk's shedding a tear. But maybe that's why they're rotating some to Zcash, right? I'm not as familiar with the coin. We have a subscriber in BB who has been banging this on Zcash for like over a year. So he's cleaned up on this pump. I don't know if he's watching this. Shout out Big Barry. But yeah, he cooked on Zcash. He's been all over this pump. But
I was just gonna say that it would be amazing if he could come up and cook on it live.
We'll have to get him on the show later this week if he wants to.
If he wants to.
I feel like the real privacy coin pump is going to, and this is kind of maybe a dark turn, but I think the real privacy coin pump comes when there's an actual necessity for it. It's kind of like a soft necessity right now, where there's some fear around, being unable to have money outside of the system. But maybe one day, just kind of as part of the cyclical decline of fiat currency, we hit capital controls. I think it's a hedge against that, right? And I think when that occurs, you will likely see Monero and Zcash and privacy coins kind of make the sort of run that gold is making right now, parabolically breaking higher. But I don't know when that's going to be. So, I don't really have an opinion on it. But I'd like to own some just for that purpose, right? It's kind of like having a hedge against idiocy, which is a pretty good hedge, I would say, anymore. But Bitcoin doesn't really fulfill that purpose. I think it's the main point that I want to get at. And some Bitcoin maxis might fight you might fight you for saying that, Jackus. But I do think it's really difficult to argue that Bitcoin is like private money. It's the non-sovereign storage of value that we thought it would be. Even if it has non-sovereign properties inherently, it's owned by banks and countries now. So, it's not quite as non-sovereign as it was. But I guess that's part of the adoption curve, isn't it?
I really think it's mainly for people that like they don't really care about privacy much anymore. It's more about like for regular folk to simply and bigger folk obviously. But if a small folk is able to see and cares, then obviously he can buy and store their wealth in Bitcoin or other stuff, of course, too. But BTC, he can do that. He just doesn't care much about like paying with Bitcoin. He doesn't care about, being like uh, outside of the system. No, he's totally fine with that. Every like the government can see what you're doing when you are withdrawing. I think this is the way most people nowadays view BTC or approach it, I would say, rather. And there are options obviously where you can like use P2P systems, but again, if you want to stay private, then you are rather going to use probably Monero for it.
Did you see this on Friday, Jackus? The Poly market bet for will Satoshi move any Bitcoin in 2025 randomly spiked like 600%. Now it's an illiquid market, so I do want to immediately preface it by saying that it didn't take a huge amount of volume for that move to occur. But it was like one of the wallets, brand new, freshly funded, shoved 20 or 30 grand into it. And I mean, right now it's holding above 5 or 6%, which is still not a high odd, but it's just like a very abnormal move on Poly market. Very obscure bet. I don't think that's going to happen personally, but
I think it's a psyop.
I kind of do think it's a psyop as well. But if that ever did happen, God help us.
Well, lots of the times there can even be some catch in how the rules are structured oftentimes, which is the case on Poly market. So it can like be, I don't know, you think you're betting on something that happens, right? And then there is like, it has to happen, but under these conditions, and then those conditions are met, and you're like, hey, I won, but you did not really. And I haven't read this one, but could be perhaps the same too.
This market will resolve to yes if any wallet labeled as belonging to Satoshi Nakamoto on Arkham Intel's Explorer shows an outflow or swaps transaction before December 31st, 2025.
Yeah.
Can't say I'm going to put any money on that, but definitely Poly market never ceases to intrigue, right?
What's with like, I feel like today's price action is pretty weird. You got Bitcoin almost up 2%. You got ETH down 1%, and like altcoins are still relatively green across the board. Very weird day, right? It's not normally what you see.
Weekend perps shall not prosper.
Yeah,
just how it goes. And I guess we're probably going to squeeze the longs here in a sec. Maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, but usually weekend positioning just does not really end up having any sustainability.
right. Yeah.
At least not anymore, man. We used to have a market. We used to have a
Used to be lit. Weekends used to be lit. Now I got to pull back every weekly market open. Any move that you do over the weekend, at least on Bitcoin and ETH. But Bitcoin's still relatively holding up strong.
You
Not
spent
really
your time.
moving.
You spent your time on the weekend watching the charts. That was stupid.
Yep.
That's
why I don't anymore.
Well, this weekend actually was pretty good. Actually, the Sunday candle was very important, I would say.
Yeah, we did get a little bit of vol this weekend.
Let's see Bitcoin filling this.
It literally saved the weekly candles.
Yeah.
This weekend was the most important out of any past ones.
I agree. All right.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Do you guys have any other tickers you want to look at before we start to wrap up, or
Litecoin.
Litecoin. That's a choice.
It looks good.
Yeah, I can't say I hate the setup.
Let me see here.
Is it ever going to pump again?
It might. It kind of looks like XRP before it pumped.
It will pump again. Will
But
it
it doesn't
pump
have the
now
catalyst
is
like
the
the
question.
says.
Will it
Unless Litecoin ETF.
see what the Litecoin ETF odds are for the end of the year? 76%. Wow.
I think boomers will bid this. I'm serious.
Why?
Why?
It's been around a long time. It's familiarity, you know. It's
They're
accessible on everywhere.
I am old. What other old chart I can buy? Oh, EOS. Let's buy EOS. I don't know. I'm still like, I don't see a reason to buy it much apart from speculation.
Yeah. Well,
The interesting thing to me, we did kind of discuss this a few weeks ago. Sol ETFs really haven't done like great volume. The main ones haven't been approved, but the ones that have launched really have not done very good volume. I remember when we said that a Doge ETF theoretically would probably do more volume than Solana. And that, I think that's proving to be the case. But it does make me question, like, all right, if Sol is not getting great volume, what other altcoins are conceivably, like, what are they expecting from a volume standpoint for ETFs, right? What do you think is like a reasonable expectation for other altcoins as far as an ETF volume goes? Because I think that probably like the most bullish case for Litecoin would be more so like a treasury company bid versus like an ETF. That would to me be, I think, a lot more bullish than Litecoin. But I mean, the odds say that Litecoin's going to get an ETF this year. So
I feel like we're here.
I don't know. I think lots of these ETFs will launch and then they will erase them, a few months later when there is no volume.
they're going to get delisted from the New York Stock Exchange.
I think so. Like they are just trying to, throw a dart, and someone's probably getting bribed to list those ETFs. But when they will not do volume, why have them? So I do not know. I think, does Sol ETF has a staking in it, or is there going to be one?
I think they are trying to get that approved. Like I said, I mean, not all the Solana ETFs have been, like the main ones haven't all been cleared, but I know like their first few have, and the volume really has not been very good on a daily basis.
I think the ETH staking ETF will matter a lot. Sol should theoretically too, but then again, institutions aren't really looking to build on Solana. Solana has always been, the entire thesis of Solana this cycle has been that it's the degen cycle and people can gamble on chain. That narrative ran from September 2023 till basically March 24, and since then Solana has been going sideways. And obviously the liquidity from the degens have been extracted. So
Max extract.
I think the degen season, I said this before a few times again, I think the degen season comes in when people get rich again, and I think we are far from that right now.
I agree. Not sure what that catalyst for people to get rich is, other than for majors to just go up a lot, right? For the wealth effect to trickle in. It's so funny that he's just chilling here like that. But All right, guys, that concludes the episode of Market Check today. The remaining panelists are me, Jackus, and Butters apparently as well. But if you enjoyed Market Check today, a reminder that we go live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, with our typical start time being around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So catch us again on Wednesday. We'll see where price is trading. Will the breakout confirm? Is it a fake out? Hopefully we'll have clarity on that by Wednesday. I sure hope we're not just like still chopping by Wednesday, but you know, who the hell knows with this market. Also make sure to check out Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is our afternoon spaces, hosted by Wabi's X account, as well as the Because Bitcoin X account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces ahead of time, but of course also when we go live. And lastly, we have rolled out some brand new products over the last few months, guys. So if you're looking to get an edge in your perps trading, if you're looking to get an edge in meme coin trading, we have the tools for you to be able to do that, starting with our Volume Fusion Pro Discord. If you want signals on Doge, Solana, Pepe, some of your favorite tickers to trade, we do have a Discord that will give you alerts based on hourly momentum and based on the system that Max has been working to perfect really over the last year. So check that out. All you have to do is sign up using our Blowfin referral link, and you'll be given access to this Discord and more strategies in the future. Also, make sure to check out the BB Terminal, guys, if you're looking for something that can give you an edge on chain. Will it be BSC? Will it be Solana? Will it be Sui? I always got to make that joke about Sui, man. I have a friend who got like really into Sui and Say NFTs. So if they're watching, maybe they're laughing. But regardless of where the next, on-chain mania is going to be, the best way to be prepared for it is by owning the BB Terminal. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show today. We'll be back on Wednesday. But until then, thank you again, as always. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal.